Hello everyone. Once again I welcome you to this lecture of TYBA Compulsory English. In this lecture we are going to discuss types of communication. Dear students, we know that communication is continuous process, communication is flexible process, communication is two-way process, and for communication there should be sender, there should be receiver, there should be message, media and feedback from the receiver. Then we also talked about the process of communication. So this lecture is about this lecture is about the types of communication. So we know that the communication exists in two types. So there are two categories or two types of communication, and these categories can be named as verbal communication and non-verbal communication. So these are the two major categories of communication, verbal and non-verbal communication. So verbal communication refers to the use of spoken or written word in communication. When the written or the spoken words are used by the communicators or the participants in order to exchange their ideas, thoughts, emotions, feelings, opinion, information or knowledge. It is oral communication, or it is called as verbal communication. So there will be either written word or there will be either spoken word between the sender and the receiver. On the contrary, non-verbal communication is a sort of communication where the communicators or the participants are not going to use either spoken or written word. So communication that takes place between the sender and the receiver without using written word or the spoken word is called as non-verbal communication. So in non-verbal communication, the participants are going to use body language in order to make communication. On the contrary, in verbal communication, there will be use of either spoken words or written words, and the message will be conveyed through. It can be in the form of oral message or it can be in the form of written message. So words are going to be there in verbal communication. But in non-verbal communication, participants do not use word, and their information, ideas, thoughts, knowledge, opinions or whatever they wanted to convey or interact, it is done through the body language. So body language includes our posture, body language includes gestures as well as facial expressions. The communicators depend upon the body language in order to make the communication meaningful. So speakers, rather than the speakers, I would like to say the communicators use their body language, communicators use their hands, communicator use their head, communicator use their eyes, communicator use their posture to pass the message or to pass the information. So it is essential to understand some components of non-verbal communication. The first essential component of non-verbal communication is kinesics. So kinesics refers to gestures, postures, facial expressions and body language. It includes how the participants make the use of body language to pass the message. The participants or the sender of the message will use his eyes, will use his hands, posture and head in order to pass the information, in order to pass the message. For example, certain gestures like shaking of fist or nodding of head are used by the communicators. So shaking of fist may show the anger of the participant. Nodding, it can be negative way or positive way. By nodding, the person who is going to receive the message gets a clear idea about the message, because the nodding of the person, the eyes of the person gives more significant information of the message or of that content. So all gestures, the different types of gestures are used by the communicators or the participants, but all the gestures may not have a specific meaning. Sometimes there are certain limitations as far as the use of gestures are concerned. So from culture to culture, the use culture, in particular culture, the specific gesture will be accepted and it will be considered as good one. In particular culture, the same gesture will be considered as negative, and it will be there will be miscommunication. The sender's message would be misinterpreted by the participant or the receiver. So this is the biggest problem, because all the gestures may not have the similar meaning in a different culture or for the different people. So many gestures are abstract and may not carry specific meaning. So use of appropriate gesture is important in non-verbal communication. Persons or the participants' posture, persons' facial expressions, person's eye contact tell us about his confidence, tell us about his state of mind, and also tell us about his attitude. So we can get the person's state of mind, person's attitude by observing his body language, or by appropriate use of body language we can present our confidence or intellectual ability or attitude. The second essential component of non-verbal communication is proxemics. So proxemics refers to the distance between the sender and the receiver of the message. So here sometimes the sender maintains a distance between himself and the receiver. During the communication process, there will be distance between the participants, particularly there will be difference between the sender and the receiver. So this distance between the sender and the receiver shows the relationship that the sender share with the receiver. For example, if there is a conversation, if there is a communication between an officer and his colleague, so there will be some distance. So from that distance we will be able to gauge the type of relationship between the sender and the receiver. So T. Hall has mentioned 4 categories of proxemics. So he divided proxemics into 4 categories. He categorized them into 4 things. The first thing is intimate. So intimate here refers to a kind of proxemics where the sender and the receiver will have a close relationship. There will be close relationship between the sender and the receiver. So this is called as intimate situation. There will be a close relationship. This type of communication takes place in a family. Then the second component or second category proposed by Hall is of personal. So personal refers to the communication or the distance that is maintained by the speaker at the time of communicating with friends, privately. So there will be no public chat, there will no public sort of discussion between the friends, and this sort of distance is maintained while communicating with friends. And the third one is social. For acquaintances, fellow workers and strangers, so some sort of distance is maintained there. The persons with whom you are less acquainted, the persons with whom are less familiar, the person who are stranger to the communicator or the sender, or with fellow workers, there will be this sort of distance. Then the next one is, the fourth one is public, and here for use in classroom and for speeches before groups, this type of category is used. While delivering the lecture in the class or while delivering the lecture in public place, there will be that type of distance between the communicator and, that is, the sender and receiver, will be there. So Hall has described these four categories of proxemics. Then there are certain things that should be considered as important for a non-verbal communication. So we know that non-verbal communication is a communication, or that is non-verbal communication is an affair where the participants are not going to use either written word or the spoken word for communication, and they rely largely on the use of body language. After that, we have to keep in mind the chronemics. So chronemics deals with time. It has association with time, it has some relation with time. The structure and use of time convey personality and attitude of the participants. So chronemics is related with the time and what type of structure and how the speakers or the participants are going to use the time frame at the time of communication. That tells us about the personality and attitude of the communicators. It gives information about the attitude, it gives information about the personality of the participants or the communicators. Then the second thing is paralanguage. So paralanguage refers to the suprasegmental elements of a language, or we call it a suprasegmental function of language. So it deals with vocal qualities. So vocal quality refers to volume, vocal quality refers to pitch, vocal quality refers to rate, vocal quality refers to intonation, vocal quality also refers to stress and intonation pattern. The speaker's intonation, speaker stress, speaker's pronunciations are also important in order to make communication. The next one is, third one is appearance. So appearance is one of the most important aspect of communication. In appearance, during the course of communication, it reflects the personality as well as attitude of the participant. The appearance may put the receiver in hostile mode. The appearance of the receiver and the appearance of the sender, both are important. So appearance of the person who is going to provide information or the message creates either a positive attitude in the mind of the receiver or negative attitude in the mind of receiver. So appearance should be appropriate, there should be proper drapery, there should be proper hairstyle at the time of presentation or at the time of communication. So appearance, we know that forms first impression of the presenter. So most important thing here is the appearance. In formal communication, appearance plays important role. We know that there can be formal communication, there can be informal communication, there can be one-way communication, two-way communication. We know that formal communication is a communication where formality is important. The senders and the receivers are going to follow the ethics, they are going to follow the etiquettes, they are going to follow the manners, and everything that is informal, they are going to keep it aside during the communication. Informal refers to A sort of communication there where the speakers may use informal words. Informal communication and formal communication depends upon the nature of relationship between the sender and the receiver. It also depends upon the situation or the circumstances. Then there can be one-way communication. So one-way communication refers to the communication that is done only by the sender. For example, while reading a book, there will be one-way communication. When we read book, there is no interaction between the writer and the reader. There is one-way communication, and there can be two-way communication. So we know that two-way communication, interview, classroom activities, lectures, this can be given as example of two-way communication.